Hi, I'm Susanna. I'm a social media strategist and consultant for Nomad Elite, where we help investors, millionaires, wealthy individuals in general relocate to more tax-friendly and liberal countries. And today I'm here to talk to you about one of the most straightforward paths to obtain residency in Italy, the Residency by Investment program. This is also called as the investor visa, and the concept behind this investor visa, or any investor visa for that matter, is that you actually have to invest a minimum capital in order to obtain a residence permit in the country. So this minimum capital of course varies depending on each country's policy, but this is an option that more and more countries keep allowing in their internal policies because it attracts people and investors from all over the world who can benefit from all the beauty and the quality of life that these countries in the European Union have to offer. This Italian investor visa is also known, by the way, as the golden visa, since it's one of the most direct paths leading to the permanent residence permit and eventually to the citizenship. And it's also called a fast-track visa because compared to other visa, the process to obtain it is pretty straightforward and fast. Plus, the application can be done completely in English and online. As I was saying, there are so many benefits in obtaining a golden visa in Italy. Italy is one of the largest economy, and it allows businessmen to enter an internal and even have an access to a European Union market, which is pretty rich. It's not surprising that the attention of investors is constantly growing when it comes to this program. So let me just guide you through a few of the opportunities you can have with this investor visa. You can travel to all the Schengen area countries, so all the European Union countries as well, without a limit of 90 days. You can work as an employer or a self-employed individual without any restrictions and without having to ask for a work visa. So you can bring all your family in Italy and they will have the same exact privileges as you do, but you can then benefit from a special tax break. Then basically, once you have the visa, this investor visa or golden visa, you can then stay in the country for a period of 5 years, after which you can apply for a permanent residence permit. After that, if you stay in the country for a minimum of 10 years, you can apply soon after for the citizenship. And you can obtain the Italian passport, which, in case you were wondering, is one of the strongest passports in the world. Last but not least, you can enjoy the free healthcare that it has to offer. So by obtaining residency, you have access to the healthcare program, the national healthcare program, so you can have access to medical, cure and exams for free. So let's start with the application process for this visa, which is very not complicated, but you will need someone to guide you through all the steps. So the first step is to obtain a nulla osta, which is basically a certificate of non-impediment, which attests that there are no obstacles between you and the obtainment of the visa you ask for. Once you obtain the nulla osta, then you can go to the local embassy or consulate in your own country and apply for a 2-year visa. Practically, what you will need to do is to log into the portal of the website of the Italian Ministry of Enterprises and Made in Italy. Then you will have to create your account and submit your application. So you will be asked to provide a resume or any other documentation attesting that you actually have the funds to apply for an investor visa. You have to submit your passport and criminal record and any other kind of documentation of that sort. Then of course you will need to electronically sign a few documents and a few authorizations. After that, 3 things can happen. So basically, the committee secretariat, which is the authority in charge, can approve your application and you can obtain the nulla osta, so the certificate of non-impediment, or they can ask you to integrate your application, so they can ask you to provide them with additional information, or they can reject your application, in which case they give a reason motivation. So in case of approval of your application, you will find the nulla osta online on your portal, on the account you created, and with that you can go and apply for your investor visa. In case of rejection, you of course can try again maybe later on, and in case of, let's say, a request for integration of the visa, then your application is suspended for a period of 30 days, in which you will have to provide the authorities with all the documentation and additional information they might ask. So once you do that, you can have a positive result, so they can approve your application or they can deny it as well. Anyways, if you obtain the approval within 6 months, you can request to obtain the visa through the embassy or consulate in your own country. And once you obtain the visa, you can actually enter in the country, but you have to remember to ask for a residence permit within 8 days after your arrival in the country. Once you obtain the visa, you actually have 2 years to enter the countries, and from that 2 years, you will obtain the residence permit, which has a validity of 2 years. So you don't have to do everything in a rush way. You can really take your time in that. But let's talk about what kind of investment can you make. I'm talking about an investor investor visa program, we haven't talked and we haven't discussed investments. So there are a few options, and some are definitely more convenient than other. You can, when you first apply for an investor visa program, you have to specify which kind of investment you're looking for. So you can invest in government bonds, you can invest in limited liability companies and innovative startups, or you can make a donation. This donation is like a philanthropic donation, and it has to be linked to a few areas. So it can be culture and heritage preservation donation, it can help research, education and research, or it can help with immigration management. So those are the three areas you can donate for a philanthropic donation. We are looking at around $1 million. So with a philanthropic donation of $1 million, you can enter the investor visa program. If you want to invest in government bonds, you will need to invest $2 million, which still sounds pretty high to me. If you want to invest in a limited liability company, the minimum investment required is $500,000. But if you want to invest in an innovative startup, this is a really recent law, by the way, and it's super convenient because this law allows you actually to invest 250,000 euro and then enter the country. When it comes to the minimum investment requirements, you will have to go through a few possibilities which may better suit your needs. But of course, the most convenient possibility you have is to invest in an innovative startup for the minimum amount of 250,000 euros. So once you do that, you can actually access the investor visa program, and this is one of the cheapest investor visa program on the market, especially in the European Union. Of course, the investor visa holder has some obligation and has to undergo some conditions in order to maintain their visa. So they have to maintain the investment for the entire duration of the residence permit. Otherwise, this permit will be revoked and it will not be possible to renew it. So the beneficiary has to actually maintain their original investment. They cannot change the kind of investment they decided to undertake. In case they do so, they have to submit a new application for an investor visa. So let's say you want to invest in something else. Once you enter the country, you cannot just replace your former investment. You have to undergo a totally different and totally new procedure. So in case the authority in charge, so the Secretariat Committee, finds that you haven't maintained your investment throughout the duration of your residence permit, your residence permit can actually be revoked. The investor residence permit has a validity of 2 years and it can be renewed for further 3 years periods. So according to the law, the renewal of the residence permit is subject to approbation by, of course, the authority in charge. But if your investment has been maintained throughout the whole duration of the residence permit, then in that case, the committee has to issue a positive judgment and issue a certificate of renewal for your residence permit. Lastly, let's discuss eligibility. Who can apply for an investor visa? So you can apply for an investor visa in Italy if you are not a European Union citizen and you're over 18. This applies to individuals, so an individual not coming from the European Union or the Schengen area who is over 18, or to a legal person, and the legal person has to be referred to their legal representative, and that person has to be, of course, non-European citizen over 18. Then we save the best for last. We talked about one of the benefits of having the investor visa, of being a holder of the investor visa, is the tax break you can actually benefit from. Once you decide to get residency in Italy, this means that you are actually a tax resident in Italy, not only a formal residence. You actually have your tax residency transferred to Italy. According to the most recent governing law, if you haven't had your tax residency in Italy 2 years prior your application to your investor visa, then you're eligible to benefit from a higher tax break compared to the one that the other fiscal residents benefit from. Of course, this is a clear incentive to new talent and investors to consider Italy as their prime choice when it comes to relocation. So I see it as a way that can benefit both parties. You can benefit from a higher tax break, and Italy can benefit from having investor, businessmen. We can definitely bring a special know-how into the country. And don't hesitate to reach out to Nomad Elite. We are a full package relocation agency that can help you with your needs, and we can definitely provide you with advice that is especially tailored for you. So follow this channel and reach out to us, and we are here for whatever you need.